button and start recording. So, Lauda, thank you ever so much for coming on Superliminal, and it's really an honor to have you here.
It's an honor to be here.
Thank you. So, why don't we start? Obviously, we're like from the beginning, but I mean, like I said off camera, like it's like you've had 3 near-death experiences, and it turns out I'd only got 50% of it. It's actually about 6. But yeah, take us from the beginning when you somehow got duped into coming back into this world, and then your first NDE, your first near-death experience, and how that unfolded, but also what it began to show you about the nature of this reality that we're in.
So my memory is that I didn't get duped. It's that I was called in and asked if I wanted to come in to do this. And it was with 7 other people who each were from unique universes. And given the situation, it was kind of what was known as a last call. Considering everything that was about to go down, right? Because this is finishing. This inverse, counterfeit, facsimile reality, simulacrum, is going down. So I came in willingly to do this, even though I had a lot of reservations. And I considered coming in as an impossible mission, given the situation. But, and we all did actually, but we came in anyway because of the supernatural metaphysical quality that we are. So given the mission impossible, you know, we're going on the metaphysical side of things, of everything that primes and angelics and celestials are. And with that, I was like, somehow, even though it's mission impossible, it's going to work, right? So that's how I came in. So I didn't really have the memory of a lot of these incarnations, but I had the memory of how this, and also not just the memory, but I was told the situation here. And I was told to stay awake. And that was really imprinted in my brain. Stay awake, and that doesn't mean, you know, fall asleep. Don't be afraid to fall asleep. That's a consciousness thing. So yeah, but it was terrifying. I was actually very, very worried about this, and I
Before
knew
you
that
came in,
so much so that I was stalling. And because I was stalling, because I had questions, and I was like, I don't know, this seems like a mission impossible. This is like, what are the parameters? Where's the, you know, the divine aid when we need it? Like all these things. And at that time, the body was already being born. And I was up where I was basically still talking.
Oh, I see. Because I recall from, as we said off camera, when I was reading Dr. Michael Newton's books on the reincarnation process, generally most souls tend to bond with the human vehicle they're going to be with anything from sort of 3 to 6, 7 months. Because the general consensus was it takes that amount of time to form a symbiotic relation between the body's consciousness and our actual soul consciousness as well. But you hadn't come in even before your human vehicle had been born.
That's correct.
Wow.
I did not go into the body until after it was born. But because I was stalling, the body was born and it was stillbirthed. So I came in to a stillborn body. So it was dead. The body was dead, and when I was, I had help to go into the body really quickly and powerfully, And the power of how I entered the body is what essentially resuscitated it in shock. And that was my first memory of that body. But they don't normally do it like that. That's, yeah. So yeah, I was not in the vehicle at all until then.
Can you remember what that felt like to then have to
100%.
to then have to get to know the consciousness of your human body and then to be able to then come together as one? I mean, that's a hell of a steep learning curve, literally, given that you had to do it instantaneously.
I have absolute memory of it because it was absolutely terrible. It was painful. The density here was painful.
Yeah.
It felt like you were being compressed so much that it's a state of being that is a real shock. And it was that density that I had a major problem with. So when I entered the body, I was fully conscious. And I was conscious with my consciousness. So even though I was in the body of a baby, I was still me, thinking like me. But I couldn't express anything. So it was really, it took a long time for me to be able to inhabit the body where it wasn't arduous and hard and difficult to deal with. The lack of movement, the lack of expression, it felt like a blob. It felt like I was pushed into a blob. And yeah, so the whole experience was actually really awful. And I ended up having a problem with the physicality, period. I couldn't eat food. My body rejected, essentially my body rejected this reality. So I couldn't even eat food. And I had a very weird episode that at 6 months I died again. And then they revived me, but I was in a coma for quite a while. And it was a strange kind of a coma. They ended up having to inject something in my brain. And they said, like, this is either going to kill her, but if she survives it, she'll end up being, mentally challenged, right? But I did survive it, so they injected me, and I came out of it screaming, and I was fully intact. Like, they couldn't understand it. So it didn't have any effects on me. And so that's, there's 2 times right there. Essentially.
And you're 6 months old at this point.
And I'm 6 months old.
Wow.
And during that, I recall continually being shown things that were to come, continually being shown like the series of events, the paradigm, like it was almost like it just continued, right? I was being shown what I needed to retain here so it wouldn't get lost. So yeah, that is the beginning of me, right? And then just getting used to the body so that I could eventually eat and function. But I've always had a very difficult time with this reality, and I've always had. So the 3-dimensional space with this density is one of the most uncomfortable. And so all the angelics and primes and celestials remember this. This is like not the correct physics for us. Nothing here is the correct physics. And innately, you know it, you feel it. There is no comfort in your body. Not really. Do we ever get to the point where we enjoy being in the body here in this particular reality and realm? No, I don't really think we do. I think it's always like a work in progress, right? So yeah, that's how it started. But It was for the mission. It was coming in to do the job. And the not falling asleep pertained to the nature of the prison here, the war on consciousness.
Mm.
And it was imprinted in me, right? That this is vital to retain your consciousness here because of the nature of this trap. And yes, they're going to tell you that karma is real. They're going to put karmic lords there. There's a pantheon of councils designed to dupe everybody. But, you know, it's interesting because so often souls would just say, okay, like, I believe it, I'll come back. Yes, I'm learning. But what happens if you say no? Right? What happens when the karmic lords say, oh, well, you know, you weren't able to learn this, but if you go back and you learn this, you're just going to evolve and it's going to be that much better. And you say no. They can't force you. And I think that level of consciousness is where we're at, right? Now people are getting it. Now they know, because karma is a part of the machine.
Yeah.
This is how they've been able to get away with this. So it's a magnificent lie. And the other aspect of this is if enough of you get too conscious so that your consciousness is able to collapse this, at that point we'll do a reset. So we've seen many resets. And now we're at a time when, you know, I don't think the reset's going to work. And this is coming down. So we do have the help, because at this point inside this inverted facsimile copy reality, the simulacrum, it's actually toppling the universes. So what's happening here is affecting all the other universes to the point where it can't be allowed to carry on. It can't be allowed to go on, right? So that's a little bit of background to how I got in here.
Yeah, wow, that is incredible. But I love the fact that you're able to hang on to, or, well, not hang on to, but actually consciously remember exactly why you're here and what the mission is, because there are so many people that either have a complete memory wipe when they arrive, or some young children will remember up until the ages of anywhere in between 3 to about 7 or 8, but then it's completely gone after that. And very, very few people like you actually remember the whole thing. But the people that I've heard who do remember are generally those who have come with a very, very specific mission to help get rid of all this nonsense, and for us to transcend it. Because you know, you mentioned there about the karma side of it, and you know, we have to come back to repay our karma and experience things on the other side. You know, we were saying before we started that a few years ago I'd started reading Michael Newton's excellent books. I think it was Journey of Souls, something else of Souls. He wrote about four or five books, didn't he? And I remember at the time what a freeing effect that had on me, because I was like, oh, death is not the end. I kind of always felt it deep down inside, but could never find a way to really connect with it. And reading those like really brought it all into my conscious awareness. But simultaneously, it actually raised just as many questions as it answered, because one of the things that Michael found in his research, which he did from I think it was the 50s up until the 80s or 90s, something like 60s to the 90s, something like that. He spent about 30, 40 years doing it. One of the things he found was that on average, most souls have had something like in between 30 to 100,000 reincarnations on this planet. to
Mm-hmm.
learn lessons. And I'm like, that's a hell of a lot of detention. Like, how many lessons do you need to come back and learn? And why do you even need to have to come back to do that? Why couldn't you do that within a lifetime as well? And that really got me on the path of wondering about the trap side
Mm-hmm.
of the reincarnation process. And it's fascinating. You shared some things there that I'd love to explore further in the conversation about it being a facsimile or a
Mm-hmm.
fake copy. But you experienced that more directly, didn't you? When I think was it when you were about 13 and you had a major
Oh
injury
yes.
then?
Oh yes, yes, yes. I drowned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That wow, that was a crazy experience because I was in the Mediterranean Sea and I didn't realize that there had been warnings on the beach because it was nighttime that the currents were really bad and I was pulled and I kept being pulled. So one current would pull me, the undertow, and take me, and another undertow would take me. And this just, you know, brought me really far into the ocean and I drowned. And it was really it was really phenomenal and hard to believe, but the only reason why I got rescued was because of two dolphins who brought me back in. That's the only reason. And when they brought me back into shore, the people that were on the beach, they were making a ruckus and they realized there was a dead body like that they had been carrying in, which was me. And then I was resuscitated, but not right away. It was like I wasn't coming back. So, it was taking a while. But when I had that experience, I went into what I call the deep. So when I had that experience, as I was having that experience, I wondered, where's the light?
Mm.
Like, why am I not seeing the light? And, you know,
So you,
ancestors.
you mean that the thing that people generally describe,
Yeah, right?
is it I forgot how you pronounce it. Is it the Haralite or the Harotube? Is
Yeah,
basically like
right.
a corkscrew of
Yes.
light, and then you're met by your grandma that
Yep.
passed away when you were two, or if you're religious, like Jesus, Buddha, Allah, or whoever, or
Exactly.
some close relatives, and you didn't have any of that
No,
in that
and I
experience.
actually was wondering if something was wrong. Like, I'm
Wow.
like, oh my God, like that's not happening. Why am I not seeing that? I'm just going into this darkness, this place that has nothing in it. It's just what I call the deep because it wasn't scary. It was very peaceful, but there was nothing there, right? And I was, the programming tells you you're going to see the light, you're going to see the tunnel, you're going to meet the people, and what is going on? Just had all those questions running through my mind. And then when I realized I was in the deep, I suspended everything. I just let go of everything. And I was like,
Mm.
ah, I get it. I'm not in it anymore. Like I'm not in it. So nothing can attach. Nothing of this simulacrum can attach to me in the deep. There's nothing that my mind is playing in reality and that it can use.
Yeah.
So I was really quite content and I thought, well, okay, I'll just stay here. This is great.
Is it what do you feel that's what most people say is the void? What you mentioned as the deep.
I mean, I've been to the void in my experience and that wasn't good. And the void for me is attached to the simulacrum because the simulacrum has all of the dimensions in it. Okay. So you think you're getting out, but you're still here, right? It's not just the 3D. It's like it has all the dimensions trapped within this.
So
So
basically, the matrix isn't just here on planet Earth. It extends
yeah,
way beyond into the
yeah,
astral realm, and into
yes,
all these realms beyond, into this void that
yep.
people talk about.
Hmm.
Wow.
So when I went into the void, it was a very different experience, and it was scary. Okay, and that so I to me there the deep is our primordial state that to me feels like before creation gets created, right?
Yeah.
This is like the point of inception if that's what you want. And that is a beautiful space to be in. It's very peaceful, but the void is almost like probably the counterfeit copy of the deep,
Yeah.
but it's in here, and that felt very, very terrible to me. Like that felt like a trap. So there's a distinction for me. Now, somebody else's experience of the deep, they might just call it the void. I don't know. But to me, those two are very different, because the void, you feel the nothingness in there. You feel that it isn't, it's it's like your nightmare in the subconscious, where they place you in an area where there's nothing but you're terrified. Whereas the deep, it's like the primordial womb experience. Yes, there's nothing there, but you know it's the point of inception. You know that out of that you can birth
Yeah.
creation, right?
Yeah.
Like that it's completely different.
Almost like you're everything and you're nothing. You're
Right,
everywhere and you're
right,
nowhere.
right.
You're all it is and you're nothing. It's.
Exactly.
I've heard it
Yeah.
described like that. But as you say, it's of this beautiful, peaceful awareness at the
The
same time.
most peace I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
So when I was in that space, I started understanding the point of creation. I started thinking, oh well, oh, if I want to, I can create, something in here. And I just had all these thoughts about that while I was in the deep, that I understood that that's where, what did I want to experience, right? What kind of reality did I want to experience? But I was content to be in the deep. And at that point is when I was magnetized.
As in pull back.
Yeah.
Oh, just when you thought you had a one-way ticket.
Yep. Suddenly, the best way I can describe it is that there was this huge magnetic pull that was sucking me back in.
Wow.
Hmm.
Who or what do you think that magnetic pull was?
Well, the direction of the magnetic pull was this reality.
This one we're in now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so whatever the logi, force, eon, however you want to call it, it felt like it was attached to this reality, and it was pulling me. Literally, I couldn't get myself out of the magnetic pull.
And presumably that was because your physical body was coming back to life, I imagine.
Yeah, they were
Okay. Because you've
resuscitating
been
me.
resuscitated. Okay. Yeah.
And then I was sucked back in.
Was it instantaneous or was it just a slow thing
No,
or
it felt like it took a while. Like it felt like
okay.
I was resisting it,
Yeah.
right? But the magnetic pull was so strong, and I'm resisting and resisting and resisting, and I'm trying to pull back the other way. And I'm being dragged.
Yeah.
And then before I knew it, I was back in the body.
Thoroughly disappointed.
A- Absolutely disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to come back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very content there. It was beautiful. I understood, I mean, I was playing with the idea and the thoughts. Well, what do I want to create now? What do I want to experience? I understood that's where I was. That, and I wasn't thinking about this realm at all.
Yeah.
And even though I'd come in, I said, yes, I'll come in to do this, like many of us do, right? Yes, we will come in. And all of us together function as one doing the same job, right? Even though I knew that, I was like really happy to have an out,
Yeah.
right?
So you didn't have any when you were in that space, you didn't, I guess you probably didn't have any kind of insight or vision into your story here, because as far as you were concerned, when you were in that space, you just weren't going to come back.
I wasn't going to, no.
Yeah.
I had no intention.
Yeah.
Positively, absolutely. And I was thinking about what I'd agreed to come in, and I was like, oh, it's all right. I can let it go. I mean, this realm terrifies me. This realm and the nature of what's happening here is it in consciousness, it's very alarming, right? So in my mind, I was like, I guess it's meant to be that, I'm out and that's okay. I'm good with it. I know they've got other people. I'm good. Ready to go.
With it. So one thing that I would love you to share from your perspective, Lauda, is what is, in your words, the simulacrum, the simulation, the matrix, whatever people want to call it? How would you describe it?
Well, I would describe it as originally it being an entity that was miscarried, and it's dead. That's why this reality is based on death. It's not a living reality; it's a dead reality, and it's based on the logi consciousness of the dead thing that couldn't stay dead because it came from prime creator mother. Okay. Prime creation energy can't die. So even though the miscarriage happened, if you will, that creature couldn't die. But it was dead. So this is a state of uncreation. This is the antithesis of creation. And so it created a reality that was a facsimile copy of the original to fool everybody. Now it could only create through the antithesis of creation. It could only create the opposite of that, which is the antiverse. And that's what it did. Although it mimicked, it facsimiled the original copy to seduce.
Yeah.
And then it drew in the people, the celestials, the angelics, the primes. Here they are. Once they were in lockdown. Now, it looked like the original originally, so you couldn't tell. But once everybody was in, it was locked down. Then I believe there was a rebellion that happened, because the souls that came in are the celestials, are the primes, are the angelics. And then you've got like the war in heaven. You've got what they call the war in heaven. All these heavens are a part of this reality, right? They're a part of the inverse. This logi, what this dead logi is, that couldn't die because it was essentially still a creation of the mother, right? Even though she miscarried it, that logi imprinted itself onto the simulacrum, and it uses AI, right? This is what has been using AI from the very beginning, because this is an AI reality. The simulacrum is a machine, if you will, and the aeons are a part of that mechanical function, right? It's machine. This logi imprinted itself on everything here. So when it imprinted its psyche, the underworld, it imprinted abandonment, rejection, rage, fear. It imprinted everything that everybody here suffers from. So what everyone fears here, what everybody suffers here with, like the fear of abandonment, the fear of rejection, the fear of not being loved, all these things are actually from the mind of that original logi. And because this uncreated state reality is its creation, that's why the imprint is here. It imprinted itself. That's the virus, right? That's the parasitic virus. And it imprints on the psyche. And that's where, all of these fears reside. Essentially, this is the manifestation of the subconscious. This is the manifestation of the underworld, of its psyche.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's what I've heard a lot of the indigenous American tribes in North America call Wetiko, which is basically the mind virus.
Right, the mind virus.
Would that be correct?
Yep. Yeah, I have not read the book, but I know the premise.
Yeah.
And yes, I would say that that's what he's talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fascinating.
So the invasion is in the psyche, right?
Yeah. Because it is. You're absolutely right. I mean, I feel it here so powerfully when you say that it is absolutely a war on consciousness, but simultaneously, because so many of us are remembering who and what we truly are, then the days of the entrapment within that are very, very, very much numbered, which is a relief. Because I keep saying to my partner and all my friends, it's like, this is my last lap in this frequency. I'm done. When this body stops decoding this environment, and I'm out of here. Very much like you described your NDE from years ago, where you were literally just shot straight out, past all the white light, past all the pretend relatives, which is just basically a scan of your mind to see who you want to see, and trick you into going back. Yeah, I'm straight out into that beautiful space of everything and nothing and all that is. But it's really great that although it looks like at the moment that the world is imploding in terms of the control mechanism that's going on, I very much see and feel that as I heard someone explain it like this a year or two ago, and I thought that is such a fabulous expression. But basically, it's the final thrashings of a dying consciousness trying to hang on for dear life, knowing that it's already dying, and there's no chance of it coming back to life again.
That's right.
And that's why we're seeing all this craziness out in the open. And it will probably get worse in the next year, 2, 3 years even. But I think the message is to everybody listening is that as long as we stay connected to our hearts and don't buy into the fear porn that's propagated, which, if you watch the news, stop it.
Yes.
If you use news feeds on your phone and scroll through it, stop that at once, because that will keep you in that low vibrational space and keep you disconnected from your infinite awareness. And
the more that, when you think about it, yes, this thing is dying, it's thrashing, it's like it's giving all it has in these last throes, right? Because once we really understand and comprehend our unlimited, eternal, supernatural, metaphysical being, any state of matter you're experiencing can disappear in a second. It really can. Just the way that I walk into a wall, right? When we comprehend that there is no limit to what we can do, we have to remove the programs, the brainwashing that has been placed in there to remove your what they would call magical belief systems. When you're a child, you have magical belief systems because you know you're that unlimited being. It's natural to you. So it's almost like a return to that. And in that state, we may be watching and witnessing the entire realm dismantle through extreme measure. But you may just find that you're going to walk peacefully through a portal right out.
Yeah.
You may just surprise yourself with your metaphysical supernatural ability, and it may be just seamless for some, you
Yeah.
know, because there are no limits, and really there are no physics.
That's so true, because going back to the desperate attempts of this global control network is one of the reasons that we see so much stuff going on in the world, is to keep us distracted.
Yeah.
Look over there in Ukraine, look over there with Trump, look over there with what's going on in China. Look, just so people are constantly like never stopping for long enough to reconnect with this, which is always there.
Yeah.
Because people always do, like when people go on holiday or vacation and they sit on a beach without a phone, after like an hour or two, and then like they start connecting with each other. And this is the one thing we've got to remember is that these people are terrified of us. They will make out that they're all powerful, but they actually are absolutely terrified of us being present for long enough to begin to reconnect with the infinite power that we're made of, that's always there, and that we're interconnected. And as you've already said, Lauda, all these incredible apparently supernatural powers that we all possess, that are actually just an inherent part of what it means to be having an experience, even in a human form.
Exactly. And what we can do, we don't need to create technology. We can just do it. Now they are cut off from prime creator. They're cut off from source. So they have to create a dirty technology to try and mimic in some ways what we could just naturally do and overdo. Like we're not bound to any of this. And that reality, when people start truly understanding what and who they are, that reality implodes, because we're not bound to it. We're not bound to anything.
Yeah. And it couldn't be further away from who and what we truly are as well. Yeah. So we're just about out of time. This has been such a wonderful conversation. Is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd love to share with the audience before we think about wrapping up?
I would probably say that everyone is living a stolen life, right? Your life has been stolen. You're living an imposter life that is based on you forgetting who you are, right? And it's based on you not remembering and not knowing your unlimited, celestial, supernatural, metaphysical being. Retain that knowledge more, and forget the programs, forget the brainwashing, forget what you are told is real. Trust yourself and your spirit. Trust that, because the more that you trust that, the more that you're going to be activated in what and who you really are.